Hello everyone, my name is MrHurriicane, and today I'm breaking down two more Madden 16 top 5s. We're focusing on my two favorite positions in football today, cornerbacks and safeties. I've always been a big fan of the secondary, so we'll start off with cornerbacks today, and I'll be referring back to wide receivers once we get to speed. That has kind of been a theme of this entire top 5 breakdown, focusing on the speed and how much it seems to be nerfed this year. But we'll start off with cornerbacks like I said. Number 1, at 97 overall, is Seahawks cornerback Richard Sherman. Last year's cover athlete is this year's number 1 corner once again. 92 man coverage, 99 zone coverage, 87 speed, 99 play recognition, 99 press, 85 catch, which is very good for a defensive back or anybody that's not a wide receiver. 98 jumping as well for Richard Sherman at 6'3", 195. Sherman is the top corner in the game, but he's not alone at 97 overall. Everybody's had the debate, is Richard Sherman better or is Darrelle Revis? Well, their overalls are the same. On Madden 16, Revis has 99 man coverage, which is 7 higher than Sherman's 92 man, 94 zone, which is 5 less than Sherman's zone, 88 speed, 1 more than Sherman, 95 play recognition, 4 less than Sherman, 87 press, 12 less than Sherman. So the speed really isn't much of a difference, and Sherman obviously has that 4-inch height difference. Both are excellent in coverage, Revis better in man, Sherman better in zone. Based on these ratings at least, I would prefer Richard Sherman because of the 99 press. His speed is only 1 lower, but he's 4 inches taller, and he can catch with 85 catching. So we'll move on from the top 2 corners. Which would you prefer, by the way, in Madden 16? Revis or Richard Sherman? Next up, Vontae Davis, 95 overall. Like Darrelle Revis, Vontae Davis is a 5'11 corner, and Davis has 97 man coverage, 94 zone, 98 press, 88 speed, 88 play recognition. I believe Vontae Davis is very deserving of this number 3 ranked spot, but the guy I wanted to see most in these rankings is in at number 4, Chris Harris Jr. from the Denver Broncos. One of my favorite cornerbacks in the game nowadays, as Antoine Winfield no longer plays. 5'10", 199, Chris Harris is an excellent nickel corner that can also play on the outside. 89 speed, which makes him the fastest corner we've talked about so far. 95 play recognition, 98 man coverage, 97 zone coverage, 78 press. I just want to see that agility. But I know Chris Harris will have very good agility, so I'm not too worried about it. But Chris Harris is one of my favorite corners because of his ability to cover the slot. So Chris Harris is a 94 overall, the 4th ranked corner, and then there's a gap of 3 overall points between him and the 5th place corner. It's Sean Smith at 91 overall. Like Richard Sherman, he is also 6'3". Sean Smith has 86 speed, 94 play recognition, 93 man coverage, 95 zone, and 97 press. I do believe they got the top 5 corners all right, and I think the order is pretty good too. I like Chris Harris a lot, so I wouldn't be upset if he was rated a little bit better, but he's still one of the best. One thing to make note of is that every team obviously has a bunch of corners, at least 5. There are only 5 cornerbacks rated from 91 and up. Whereas at wide receiver, we saw that Julio Jones was the 5th rated wide receiver, and he was a 94. It shouldn't be much of a surprise, however, because there are more great receivers in the league than there are great corners. And it's even harder to be a cornerback in today's NFL with the stingy rules, illegal contact, defensive holding. So know that in Madden 16, 91's among the elite. When you get into the high 80s, you're still talking very expensive corners. One guy whose ratings I want to see, I don't think he's part of the top 5, but I still want to know his ratings, is Patrick Peterson. And the reason is because we all know Patrick Peterson is very fast. And we saw with the running backs that Jamal Charles was only a 92. There is an obvious universal nerf to speed that's coming in Madden 16. We can tell that from the ratings. In these top 5 corners, we saw nobody faster than Chris Harris. who was an 89. So that brings up the question when you compare these speeds to receivers, which the top 5 I've already talked about in a previous video. I'll go back through the speeds. Antonio Brown is a 90. Des Bryant an 89. They did not have the speed for Calvin Johnson. Odell Beckham is a 92. And Julio Jones is also a 92. So, straight line speed, the edge goes to the wide receivers. But hopefully with a new defensive back and wide receiver mechanics, we're not seeing those clean releases as much, or just basically track and field. Two guys in side-by-side lanes going down the field. We're going to see more of the contact, and maybe they're not going to be at top speed as much because of the nuances of how defensive back and wide receiver interactions are played out. But it still is pretty relevant and important to bring up that the speeds are different and defensive backs are not as fast as the wide receivers, at least when we're talking about the best receivers compared to the best corners. So those are the top 5 corners. I'll go back through it again one more time. Richard Sherman and Darrelle Revis, both 97 overalls. Vontae Davis, 95 overall. Chris Harris, a 94, and Sean Smith, a 91. They did not list anybody tied with Sean Smith, so maybe there are a couple 90s, but otherwise you'll find everybody else in the 80s and below. And now we'll make our way to the last line of the defense. Safeties. My favorite position, it has been for a long time. And number 1 is a 96 overall. It's Chargers free safety, Eric Weddle. 84 speed, 83 tackle, 77 hit power, 94 play recognition, 66 man coverage because normally safeties are not that great in man coverage, 91 zone coverage, however, for Eric Weddle. Very good against the pass, very good against the run. That lands him at number 1 among all safeties. Number 2, a 95 overall, Earl Thomas from the Seattle Seahawks. Nobody has better range than Earl Thomas. 96 zone coverage with 90 speed, the fastest defensive back I've talked about today. 75 tackle, 72 hit power, 83 play recognition, and 83 man coverage. I would take Earl Thomas over Eric Weddle because of that ability to man up against tight ends, and I'm also a sucker for speed and range at safety. That's also part of why I was a big Taylor Mays fan when he was coming into the league. Third safety, also a Seattle Seahawk, Kam Chancellor. 6'3", 232 pounds, 97 hit power. That's the top among safeties, no surprise. 83 speed, 85 tackle, 77 play recognition, 64 man coverage, and 83 zone. Your only chance against Kam Chancellor is to get behind him. But in the cover 3, he won't be covering deep anyway. Next at number 4, Devin Mccourty from the New England Patriots. If you want to play some cover 1 or even some cover 2 in some cases, you need a safety like Devin Mccourty to be your last line of defense. 96 zone coverage with 90 speed, which actually gives him the same zone coverage and speed as Earl Thomas, which would basically be equal range depending on acceleration and agility. 87 man coverage, another good matchup against tight ends. 87 play recognition. McCourty has had a ton of success at safety since converting from corner, which I would like to see a lot more corners convert to safety. That range is more valuable than it's ever been at any time in football history. And at number 5, now we're talking Harrison Smith from the Minnesota Vikings. I haven't gotten to talk about the Vikings very much in these top 5s, but Harrison Smith has 86 speed, 85 play recognition, 75 man coverage, 92 zone coverage, and 92 hit power. You could play Harrison at free safety, keep him in the box as a strong safety. But Harrison Smith is one of the best safeties now in the league. He solidified himself, had a fantastic All-Pro year last year in the first year with head coach Mike Zimmer, 5 interceptions. He also blitzed quite a bit and had 3 sacks. I love watching Harrison Smith. And those are the top 5 safeties in Madden 16. Again, we have at the top of the list, Eric Weddle at 96 overall, Earl Thomas at 95, Kam Chancellor at 94, the lone strong safety in this top 5, by the way, although multiple in this top 5 could play strong safety if they had to. Number 4, Devin Mccourty, 94 overall, and rounding things out, Harrison Smith enters the top 5 at 93 overall. So those are the top 5 corners and the top 5 safeties. Let me know in the comments section, did they get the top 5 corners and the top 5 safeties right? Also, let me know what you thought of these ratings. I have now talked about the top 5 at each position other than fullback, kicker, punter, and long snapper. So unless they have those coming next, I have no idea what I'll be talking about next for Madden 16, but I'll be talking about the game soon. It's as much of a surprise to me as it is for you guys, so subscribe for much more Madden 16 information and news to come, as well as content when the game releases. If you're not familiar with my channel or my videos, my main thing is Connected Franchise. Always excited to begin that when the new game releases. Also, check out the playlist linked in the description below for all the Madden 16 content I've already talked about. Whether it's the gameplay, new mode draft champions, I've talked about a variety of different things on Madden 16, so check out that playlist and stay tuned for much more to come. Thank you guys again for watching, leave a like if you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. And I'm not sure what I'm talking about, so we'll find out together, I guess.